Hare Krishna. Is someone on the call?
Yes, Mataji, Antaranga Mataji here.
Who is this?
Archana Mataji.
Archana Mataji?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. And Govardhan Lila, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Dandat Pranam.
I've seen you before, right, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. I was talking to Irina and you while having lunch or something. I think when Chandramouli Maharaj had come.
Okay, yes. Oh, Mataji, I'm so confused with names. But I'm sure if I see you, I know exactly who you are.
Definitely you'll remember.
Of course I would. It happens to me all the time. They're telling me something and I say, I can't picture you. And then it comes to me. So, anyway. Oh, boy. So you've been joining the class lately?
Yes, I have just started.
I'm sorry?
I just started joining, I think a week back.
Oh, very good. I was out of town, and so, of course, I couldn't, I wasn't here to join. But I'm hoping in the future, I got my Skype account going. So I hope when I'm out of the country, then I could still, hook up.
Oh, okay.
Because if you don't, you like WhatsApp, you can't have a conference call with WhatsApp. You can only do one person at a time. So that doesn't work for this, But
Yes.
We shall see.
So, Mataji, do you take Gita classes in the Chicago temple?
No, right now I'm not, but I will be. I'm going to be are you taking the Bhakti Shastri class now?
No, I don't live in Chicago. I live in Indiana. So once I had come for, I think there was some Sunday feast or something, and they were announcing that you are going to take some Gita classes. That's how I remember it.
They will be giving, they do have Gita classes. I'm giving classes on the science of self-realization in the mornings, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And also on Wednesday, we talk about japa. So I read from the Nectarian Ocean of the Holy Name by Satchidananda Swami, and then we chant one round of japa. You're always welcome to join us. I'm sure you're too advanced for that class. It's a beginning type class. So you're too advanced for that class, yes?
No, one is advanced for anything.
No, you know what I mean. I mean, you have already studied those books, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, so you don't need to be there. It's for people, basically new people, newcomers.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Govardhan Lila Mataji. And Archana Mataji. Is that Archana Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
Lila Mataji.
Please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, how are you, Mataji?
I'm good, Mataji.
Good. Glad to hear that. I'm not so good.
You're not so good?
Started? No, I mean, I'm a little behind time. Not very. Oh, hold on, I have to find. Okay, I have I think all my papers that I need. Just a moment. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So get started. It's 5 after 5.
Yes. Okay. Anyone who cares to may join. Om Jnana Timirandasya Janana Jana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupadamayam Dadati Padantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraya Nashtapraya Padresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama-shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Okay, Matajis, I am reading tonight, but I just want to say I'm very grateful to be back. I was out of town, and so I don't know much of what was going on during the week I missed. But today I'm reading from Canto 2, Chapter 10, Text 43 of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Welcome back, Govardhan Lila Mataji.
Thank you.
I missed you.
I missed you. I missed all of you. Tataha kaladni rudratma yatshristam idam atmana saniyat Chati tat kale gananikam ivani laha. Okay, here's the translation. Thereafter, at the end of the millennium, the Lord himself, in the form of Rudra, the destroyer, will annihilate the complete creation as the wind displaces the clouds. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. This creation is very appropriately compared to clouds. Clouds are created or situated in the sky, and when they are displaced, they remain in the same sky without manifestation. Similarly, the whole creation is made by the Supreme Personality of God, in his form of Brahma. It is maintained by him in the form of Vishnu, and it is destroyed by him in the form of Rudra or Shiva, all in due course. Is it Shiva or Shiva? I always say Shiva, so.
Shiva.
I'm sorry?
Shiva.
Shiva, okay. This creation, maintenance, and destruction are nicely explained in the Bhagavad Gita 8:19 and 20 as follows. Bhuta gramaha sa evayam. Bhutva praliyate. Ratri agame vashaha parta. Prabhavati ahar agame. Parastasmat tubavo nyo. Vyaktat sanatana. Yasa sarveshu bhuteshu. Nashyatsu na vinashyati. The nature of the material world is that it is first created very nicely, then it develops very nicely and stays for a great number of years, even beyond the calculation of the greatest mathematician. But after that, it is again destroyed during the night of Brahma without any resistance. And at the end of the night of Brahma, it is again manifested as a creation to follow the same principles of maintenance and destruction. The foolish conditioned soul who has taken this temporary world as a permanent settlement has to learn intelligently why such creation and destruction take place. The fruitive actors in the material world are very enthusiastic in the creation of big enterprises, big houses, big empires, big industries, and so many big, big things out of the energy and ingredients supplied by the material agent of the Supreme Lord. With such resources and at the cost of valuable energy, the conditioned soul creates, satisfies his whims, but unwillingly has to depart from all his creations and enter into another phase of life to create again and again. To give hope to such foolish conditioned souls who waste their energy in this temporary material world, the Lord gives information that there is another nature, which is eternally existent without being occasionally created or destroyed, and that the conditioned soul can understand what he should do and how his valuable energy may be utilized. Instead of wasting his energy in matter, which is sure to be destroyed in due course by the supreme will, the conditioned soul should utilize his energy in the devotional service of the Lord, so that he can be transferred to the other eternal nature, where there is no birth, no death, no creation, no destruction, but permanent life instead, full of knowledge and unlimited bliss. The temporary creation is thus exhibited and destroyed just to give information to the conditioned soul, who is attached to temporary things. It is also meant to give him a chance for self-realization and not for sense gratification, which is the prime aim of all fruitive actors. Okay, let me go back and reread the translation again. Thereafter, at the end of the millennium, the Lord himself, in the form of Rudra, the destroyer, will annihilate the complete creation as the wind displaces the clouds. Now, before I start the purport, I was looking in Bhagavad Gita, and we have in the translation, it says, at the end of the millennium. There is a section in Bhagavad Gita that refers to that little phrase. Let me find it. Okay. Just a moment. Here it is. Okay, this is in Bhagavad Gita 9:7. Chapter 9, text 7. It says, O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature. And at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. Just a moment. So, the purport I enjoyed here, it says, purport, the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this material cosmic manifestation are completely dependent on the supreme will of the personality of Godhead. At the end of the millennium means at the death of Brahma. Brahma lives for 100 years, and his one day is calculated at 1,000 million. I believe it's 4,300,000,000 I believe that's it, of our earthly years. His night is of the same duration. His month consists of 30 such days and nights, and his year of 12 months, and his year of 12 months. After 100 such years, when Brahma dies, the devastation or annihilation takes place. This means that the energy manifested by the Supreme Lord is again wound up in himself. Then again, when there is a need to manifest the cosmic world, it is done by his will. Bahusyam. Although I am one, I shall become many. This is the Vedic aphorism. He expands himself in this material energy, and the whole cosmic manifestation again takes place. This is interesting because we know that there are 4 different yugas, and we know that at the end of the Kali Yuga comes the annihilation. However, for the remanifestation to come, is that in Satya Yuga, I believe it is. For the new manifestation, or the golden age, if you will, from what I'm understanding in here, it does not necessarily have to happen as soon as Kali Yuga is annihilated. It does say when there is a need to manifest the cosmic world, it is done by his will. So I'm gathering, the whole cosmic manifestation stays within him, within the Lord, and and of course, by his will alone, when there is a need to manifest, it manifests again. And it manifests continually, for my understanding is for an eternity. It's always been manifesting, okay? But I just thought that maybe at the end somebody can help me with that. I always thought that it just continually went into those 4 cycles over and over again, which it does, but it's not clear from this that it's done immediately after the devastation, that that the cosmic manifestation is remade immediately again. So, but that's what it means when we say at the end of the millennium. Okay, so let me go back into the purport. And we have an analogy here by Srila Prabhupada. The creation is just like clouds. Okay, it's a comparison. There's an analogy here. The clouds are created in the sky, but they can become displaced by the wind, because they're constantly moving, and the cosmos is constantly moving. They're displaced, but they still remain in the sky, but they're not manifested. So this is showing that our creation, similarly, it's made by the Lord, of course, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his form of Brahma, maintained by him in the form of Vishnu, and destroyed by him in the form of Rudra or Shiva, all in due course. Now, I wanted to also read this from Bhagavad Gita 8, 19, and 20, which here I had read the Sanskrit, Bhuta Grama Hasa Evayam. I'm going to read this from Bhagavad Gita to explain that section. 19, what did I just say? I believe it's 19 and verses 19 and 20. Okay, so in Bhagavad Gita 8:19, it says, again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being. And with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated. And the purport says, the less intelligent who try to remain within this material world may be elevated to higher planets, and then again must come down to this planet Earth. During the daytime of Brahma, they can exhibit their activities on higher and lower planets within this material world. But at the coming of Brahma's night, they are all annihilated, In the day, they receive various bodies for material activities, and at night, they no longer have bodies, but remain compact in the body of Vishnu. Then again, they are manifest at the arrival of Brahma's day. Bhutava praliyate. During the day, they become manifest, and at night, they are annihilated again. Ultimately, when Brahma's life is finished, they are all annihilated and remain unmanifest for millions and millions of years. Now here it's saying that after the devastation, when Brahma's life is finished, the cosmic manifestation can remain unmanifest for millions and millions of years. So we don't really know, there's no calculation in here as to after the end of Kali Yuga and then the beginning of the next age, or I believe it is Satya Yuga. And when Brahma is born again in another millennium, they are again manifest. In this way, they are captivated by the spell of the material world. But those intelligent persons who take to Krishna consciousness use the human life fully in the devotional service of the Lord, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thus they transfer themselves, even in this life, to the spiritual planet of Krishna and become eternally blissful there, not being subject to such rebirths. And text 20 is very short. It says, yet there is another unmanifest nature, which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. And the purport: Krishna's superior spiritual energy is transcendental and eternal. It is beyond all the changes of material nature, which is manifest and annihilated during the days and nights of Brahma. Krishna's superior energy is completely opposite in quality to material nature. Superior and inferior nature are explained in the 7th chapter. Now, before I go on, I just wanted to say, when I read this, and I know this, and we hear it so many times in Bhagavad Gita, and we hear it so many times in Srimad Bhagavatam, that there are these 4 ages, and then there is, after the night of Brahma, the cosmic manifestation is again annihilated. Personally, in my spiritual life, when I realized that it is supposed to be a great thing, let me say it this way. It feels very sad to me that all these millennia that my soul or our souls have existed for millennia and millennia and have been created and destroyed. It's sad to me that that I've wasted so much time, that and most jivas waste most of their lives not understanding why they're here at all. And it saddens me, but that's what happens, that everything will be annihilated in the end. So what is the point of trying to do all these things in this world that I thought I was going to do? I'm going to be a this, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. For what? Ultimately, it all must come to an end. But the hope that I heard in this text 19 is that if we use this life intelligently, and fully in devotional service to the Lord by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we can become transported, if you will, or transferred to another realm, which is eternal, in the spiritual sky. And so we won't be subject to these rebirths over and over and over again. And, you know, when I keep reading that, and today I was just reading it again and again, it just felt like, oh, I'm so tired of this. I get so tired of realizing, boy, if I don't get it in this life, I got to come back again. Boy, have I been wasting my time. And so that's the unintelligent. Most jivas are unintelligent. That's why we're here to begin with. But then in the 20th text, it talks about this other unmanifest nature, which is truly eternal and transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. So it's never annihilated. And we all know that this material cosmic manifestation is only 1/4 of the full creation. You know, the other creation which exists outside of this manifest or unmanifest matter is the spiritual world, which is 3/4 of the sky, if you will, or of the of everything. And it's the superior energy, and it's eternal, and it's beyond changes. It's just like the Lord, who is not affected by all this material nature, even if he appears within the material nature. And I think it was in the previous chapter, or in Srimad Bhagavatam. I wasn't there. I'm sorry, Leela Mandri, for your class on Friday, but I know just because the Lord appears as a fish in this material world, he could incarnate into anything he wants to. He could be a fish. He could be, I don't know, I can't think right now, but animals, different animals. He can manifest in any way he wants, but he never becomes part of this material world. He can appear in it, but he's always beyond it. So that's really a message that's given in here. Okay. And so when going back to Srimad Bhagavatam now, it says the nature of the material world is that it's first created very nicely, then it develops very nicely and stays for a great number of years, even beyond the calculation of the greatest mathematician. But after that, it is again destroyed during the night of Brahma, without any resistance, and at the end of the night of Brahma, it is again manifested as a creation to follow the same principles of maintenance and destruction. When I was reading this, what came to my mind, not only the material world, but the jivas. We are created, we develop, we stay for a number of years, then we go through old age and sickness, whatever, and then we're destroyed, and then we have to go. We're destroyed. So when I read that, I thought, wow, this is the whole nature of everything in this material world, including ourselves, even though we're marginal energy. Okay. And then I was just reading in here about this day, the day of Brahma. Okay. This is in, I think this is in Vani Quotes. Yes, this is in Vani Quotes, which I found. These are some Srimad Bhagavatam lectures. And I believe that, yes, this is Prabhupada. It's very short. He says, Krishna comes after this period. In one day, after one day of Brahma, he appears. This is lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.3. This was in Melbourne, Australia on May 22nd, 1975. Prabhupada says, oh, anyway, I give you the right figure, 4 million, according to American or English calculation. and then in parentheses, laughter. 4,300,000 years, and multiply it by 1,000. Then what it comes according to English calculation? Paramahamsa says 4,300,000. Prabhupada, that is 12 hours. And add again 12 hours night. Then 8 billion, Paramahamsa says 600, wait a minute, 1,000 million, 600 million. I'm trying to get these numbers right. There's so many zeros. Prabhupada says, so Krishna comes after this period, laughter. In one day, after one day of Brahma, he appears. Another devotee says, Srila Prabhupada, does Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also appear every day of Brahma? Prabhupada, yes. Following Krishna. Krishna comes in the Dvapara Yuga. There are four periods of each yuga. Satya, Treta, Dvapara, Kali. So Krishna comes at the end of Dvapara Yuga, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes in the Kali Yuga. Okay, so I just wanted to read that so we get that idea of the calculation of a day or night of Brahma. I still can't wrap my mind around that figure even today. But so here we find that as conditioned souls, there are foolish conditioned souls. There are some who are intelligent, but not many in this material existence. The foolish soul tries to make a permanent settlement of this earth or this, excuse me, cosmic manifestation. And it is foolish if you understand that it's created and then it's destroyed. And jivas talk about that all the time. Oh yeah, and then we all have to die. Oh yeah, so-and-so was born and then so-and-so dies. That's life. People talk like it's nothing. I've heard so many people, even in my family. I was talking to Morocco yesterday, and I said, boy, I still miss some of my loved ones. It's so sad that they have to go. And they said, oh yeah, well, baby's going to be born tomorrow, and it's the way life is, and then we die, and then we move on, and we don't think about it anymore. And I'm like, oh, it just didn't feel so good to hear that. But I'm just saying that because I think a lot of people don't really get it, what that really means. Because if they really understood it, they would take to a spiritual practice where they don't have to come back to this. Because this is what creates suffering, a lot of suffering. It's one of the ways people suffer. Because we do have to die. Now, you get people in this, jivas in this material existence, excuse me, and they want to do everything big, right? We have people who have big companies. Oh, my house, I got to get a big house. This is my empire. It's huge, industries, et cetera, and it is all ultimately created by the Supreme Lord. But the conditioned soul is not understanding that all he's doing there is satisfying his own whims. He's not trying to satisfy the Lord in any way, shape, or form. It's all about me and mine and I and, ego, false ego, etc. And so in doing so, we have to come back again and again and again until we understand it. Why we're here. And I think this is interesting. It says here to give hope to such foolish conditioned souls who waste their energy in this temporary material world. The Lord gives information that there is another nature which is eternally existent without being occasionally created or destroyed. And that the conditioned soul can understand what he should do and how his valuable energy may be utilized. And so the Supreme Lord creates it, this whole manifestation, and he annihilates it. You know, by Rudra, the destroyer, he will come in the form of Rudra and he will destroy it again. But what we have to learn, and I feel fortunate that I've come across the Krishna devotees. I really am grateful for that, because I understand that we can move out of this whole cycle. It's like being on a roller coaster, and it just keeps going around and around and around. How can you get off that roller coaster and go to a place where it's not going to be spinning like that, out of control and, you know, harming us and making us having to come back again and again? And that is to perform devotional service to the Lord, okay, in this lifetime, and to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Those are the things we've been given by the Lord. And so we have that opportunity to transcend this. And because otherwise, it just seems like it's a vicious cycle. It is a vicious cycle, and it's very hopeless without Krishna. That's what I get. I mean, it's very sad that this all has to happen if we don't understand that Krishna gave us the answer of how to come back to him, and to understand that, you know, what we really wanted was to satisfy our own whims. And so we were given this material existence for that, okay? And the Lord also says that he gave us this material world to give us a chance for self-realization and not for sense gratification, which is the prime aim of all fruitive actors. So this, for me, in my Krishna consciousness, this has helped me so much to not care if my family thinks what they think of me, or what so-called karmi friends think of me regarding, oh, you're going beyond with this Krishna consciousness. I know that it's all futile. I know that what they're doing, they don't have a clue what they're doing. And so it takes a lot to be able to see beyond just what's going on every day. And now, to see and understand it is one thing. I believe I can see and understand that. Now, to actually go to the level of transcendence, that's another story. I mean, I believe as a devotee, I'm trying, but I am still in the material world, and I can be caught up in it at times, and not in the ways I was before, though. I don't think my Krishna consciousness was strong enough years ago to understand what I understand today. And so I don't think anybody can turn me away from Krishna. The only one who could, I have to be very careful about Maya. Maya is extremely powerful, and she's tricky. So sometimes wonderful devotees have gotten into trouble because they thought they were beyond that. And it turns out that no, they were caught up in Maya and they had trouble, they fell. So I'm not going to ever get, hopefully, I don't ever get a big head and think, well, I'm beyond, falling down, because it can happen. And I just wanted to read one more thing. This is from the Hare Krishna's The Philosophy. What is that nature of that place that we're going to? And I looked it up online, and what is this whole eternity, knowledge, and bliss in form? That is Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. Okay, and I really like this because it always talks. It means eternity, knowledge, bliss in form. In form, and a lot of people don't understand that about the Lord, that he has a form. And I wanted to read a little bit of it. Yeah, it's not that too terribly long, maybe 5 minutes, and maybe not even. But it explains Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. Okay, the complete whole, or the supreme absolute truth, is the complete personality of Godhead. Realization of impersonal Brahman or of Paramatma, the Supersoul, is incomplete realization of the Absolute Complete. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. Realization of impersonal Brahman is realization of his Sat feature, or his aspect of eternity, and Paramatma realization is realization of his Sat and Chit features, his aspects of eternity and knowledge. But realization of the personality of Godhead is realization of all the transcendental features, Sat, Chit, and Ananda, bliss. When one realizes the Supreme Person, he realizes these aspects of the Absolute Truth in their completeness. Vigraha means form. Thus, the complete whole is not formless. If he were formless, or if he were less than his creation in any other way, he could not be complete. The complete whole must contain everything, both within and beyond our experience. Otherwise, he cannot be complete. The reason I'm reading this is because it did mention it in text 43. Towards the very end, it said we can be transferred to the other eternal nature, where there is no birth, no death, no creation, no destruction, but permanent life instead, full of knowledge and unlimited bliss. Okay, so that's why I'm reading this. The complete whole, the personality of Godhead, has immense potencies, all of which are as complete as he is. Thus, this phenomenal world is also complete in itself. The 24 elements of which this material universe is a temporary manifestation are arranged to produce everything necessary for the maintenance and subsistence of this universe. No other unit in the universe need make an extraneous effort to try to maintain the universe. The universe functions on its own time scale, which is fixed by the energy of the complete whole. And when that schedule is completed, this temporary manifestation will be annihilated by the complete arrangement of the complete whole. All facilities are given to the small complete units, namely the living beings, to enable them to realize the complete whole. All forms of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete whole. The human form of life is a complete manifestation of the consciousness of the living being. And it is obtained after evolving through 8,400,000 species of life in the cycle of birth and death. If in this human life of full consciousness, the living entity does not realize his completeness in relation to the complete whole, he loses the chance to realize his completeness and is again put into the evolutionary cycle by the law of material nature. Because we do not know that there is a complete arrangement in nature for our maintenance, we make efforts to utilize the resources of nature to create a so-called complete life of sense enjoyment. Because the living entity cannot enjoy the life of the senses without being dovetailed with the complete whole, The misleading life of sense enjoyment is illusion. The hand of a body is a complete unit, only as long as it is attached to the complete body. When the hand is severed from the body, it may appear like a hand, but it actually has none of the potencies of a hand. Similarly, living beings are part and parcel of the complete whole, and if they are severed from the complete whole, the illusory representation of completeness cannot fully satisfy them. The completeness of human life can be realized only when one engages in the service of the complete whole. All services in this world, whether social, political, communal, international, or even interplanetary, will remain incomplete until they are dovetailed with the complete whole. When everything is dovetailed with the complete whole, the attached parts and parcels also become complete in themselves. And that was Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, let's see, Sri Ishopanishad Invocation Purport. So that is what I got out of this. I just, I wanted to do some of the readings because we all know what's going to happen, and we don't even, I think the fear is that we don't realize what happened before. And so there's a lot of fear of dying, and people just go to these extreme lengths to make everything so fantastic here, but it's going to all end and none of it gets taken with them. So we know as devotees what we must do to transcend this roller coaster ride that we've been on for millennia. And hopefully, as devotees, we more and more don't care what other people think, or, because hopefully what we can do is help them to understand too. It's very difficult to do that in this day and age, but it is possible with the help of Krishna and Guru Maharaj. So that's it. Thank you. So if anybody would like to just add comments, ask a question. It was very interesting. I just wanted to mention, I went to the temple in Costa Rica, and they would always say, elaborate, that they call on you right when you're just sitting out in the audience there as the public. They called on me to elaborate on what they were talking about or to reiterate what they were saying, not necessarily to ask a question. I thought that was an excellent way to learn what the person who was sitting in that Vyasasan was actually trying to say, because there are so many different ways that people understand something. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Govardhan Lila Mataji, I just want to thank you for again and again and again repeating Prabhupada's words. But I really feel like, what you said about, I felt the same way when you talked about, how we are in this roller coaster, and I also feel the same way, like, that it's sad, at least for myself, to see how quickly I forget everything. And again, I'm back into my program, my own program, and not realizing that it's separate from Krishna. So when I was reading the first canto with my grandmother and explaining to her, Prabhupada explains this thousands of times, that, we are in the cycle of birth and death. We have to face like misery, old age, and disease. And the way to end it is by becoming Krishna conscious. He says it so many times, and um, it's at least for me, like to watch myself, like forget it is quite amazing. But I don't know, like I think I need a lot of mercy to keep remembering that this is the solution.
Mm. Mm.
I mean, think about how many millennia, and it's the millennia that they are describing is just in with regard to one Brahma. They're not talking about all the Brahmas. That's the calculation for one Brahma, the life of one Brahma. So I don't know how many Brahmas came and went, and for how long we have been in this material world.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not a very pleasant thought for me when I think of it. Just to think of it, it's not pleasant.
Mm-hmm. So thank you again, because I think like every time we hear it, it's one step in the right direction. Some millennia it will sink in.
Yeah, I understand.
I mean, it's very hard to think of it like that, but
well, I think I get upset also when I see devotees who became so advanced. Some, I'm not saying all or anything like that, but even the few that we have known in the history of ISKCON who have fallen, into the clutches of Maya. It can happen. And I know my Guru Maharaj in his diaries, he always talks about Maya being very tricky, that, if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, it's just very easy to get caught up, very easy. And I realize that, I'll be in the middle of something and saying, this is not a very Krishna conscious thing. And, why am I thinking like this? Or there I go again, I'm getting into anger and I don't want to get into that. So it sometimes feels like a very long journey for these anarthas to become purified so that I can go back home. It just feels like an eternity, just to get rid of these anarthas. But I do know one thing. I am hopeful because Krishna does perform miracles, and he gives abundant mercy. It's just, we don't even know how much mercy he can remove those anarthas. He can really help us through our sincerity to worship him. I know he can. Yeah. And that to me is the message of hope, at least for myself, in as I'm progressing, hopefully in the years to come, that Krishna is very merciful, and so is the Guru, extremely merciful. And I've already seen miracles that I just can't even believe are happening. So that's it, Mataji. Thank you very much. We still have time for comments.
Govardhan Lila Mataji, welcome back.
Thank you, Premalasa Mataji.
We were really missing your association.
Oh, me too.
And thank you for the very, very fantastic class, Mataji. Everything extremely detailed, and this so much of research that you do. It's very nice because we hear from different sources, and all those sources actually make the topic so much more clear. So thank you very, very much, Mataji. Yeah, it's very helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Govardhan Lila, for your beautiful class. And like Prema Rasa said, the details, and like Leela Mandri said, like the devotional aspect of it. I wanted just to ask a question. We always hear about Bhagavan being Satchitananda Vigraha. I'm just wondering, we also hear that the spiritual energy of the Lord is non-different from the Lord himself. So I'm just wondering, besides the Vigraha, which is form, I would think that spiritual energy does not have that component, but that Satchitananda, I guess I just want you to maybe clarify that Satchitananda is also present in all the spiritual energy, whether it's the abode or whatever it is. Maybe I just have missed this, but I just never hear that that the Satchitananda also is within all the spiritual energy. You know, we hear about the source of everything and then his energy. So we're always hearing that the source is Satchitananda, but I would think his energy, his interior, energy, his spiritual energy is also Satchitananda. And it just kind of like popped in my mind, and I just want to hear so that like I won't have that question hanging in my mind. So I would think that Satchitananda is part of his spiritual energy. I mean, is in all his spiritual energy, it's going to contain those features as well.
I cannot quote that with certainty, but I believe that is so. But some other Matajis here with a little bit more knowledge from the Vedas might be able to clarify that for us. I believe it's correct. I believe it.
Yeah, it logically does. I just wanted to hear confirmation. Does any of the other Matajis? I mean, we all have that, that feeling that probably it does, but I just wanted to hear confirmation. Or is there a part, like, because we hear that the Brahmajyoti does not have all Satchitananda, neither does Paramatma. So can we conclude really that, like, the spiritual energy is Satchitananda? I mean, it seems like it would be, because we hear that it's non-different from the Lord himself, but I just wanted to hear confirmation. Does anybody know that for sure?
Mataji, who is on the class today? Mataji, my husband just joined. He will comment.
Answer the question. We need help.
He's just trying
Yes,
to.
we need help, students.
No comment. Sorry.
He was at Manasi Ganga. Mataji, please share your question one more time.
No, thank you, Prabhu, for hearing. So we always hear that Bhagavan is Satchitananda Vigraha. And we also hear that Bhagavan is non-different from his spiritual energy. So my question is, but we also hear that, like, the Brahmajyoti, Brahman, and we also hear that Paramatma only have certain features, Sat with Brahman, Satchit with Paramatma. So my question is, spiritual energy, does it have all Satchitananda, or because Krishna's Paramatma does not have all three? So I was just wondering if his energy, which I'm thinking is like his abode and his name and all those, his associates, those all contain Satchitananda in full.
Uh, Mataji, I am not technically expert, but one aspect, I think, since you asked, I will myself also do some research about the variegated energies of Krishna, such as, have you heard these terms, Haladini Shakti, Sandhini Potency,
Yeah,
Haladini
Samvit. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Samvit Potency. So, I have to do some studying on those, but my understanding is that the spiritual energies of Krishna are variegated also, and one of the spiritual potencies is Srimati Radharani, who is conducting
Right.
the devotional aspect of all the living entities, and who is the representation of the devotional potency in the perfected state. So, and that potency, Srimati Radharani, is the
Vidini.
she is the Haladini Shakti, the
Mm-hmm.
not just the some Sat feature or the Chit feature, but the Ananda also, and the the spiritual world, all the different aspects. Whenever we talk about the Ananda Vigraha or the uh, full potencies of Krishna, they are conducted under Srimati Radharani, that Hladani potency. That said, certain potencies, like you said about Brahman, obviously Brahman is not everything. It is a partial realization of the Supreme, or partial, as you said, Sat feature. And the Paramatma feature is Sat and Chit features. But both the features lack the Ananda, because they do not have the Vigraha themselves. Vigraha, it's a partial realization of the Absolute, but with the Vigraha comes the Ananda. So when we don't talk about the Vigraha, then there is no aspect of this Ananda. So in the spiritual world, it is said that all the, even the flute of Krishna, or these trees, the grass, the cows, everything is spiritual, in the sense that everything has the consciousness, and everything has that mood, such as Srimati Radharani, to serve Krishna. So they all have that. We cannot realize that form as to like how they experience that bliss or Ananda, but they all have that potency, because they are directly under the spiritual potency of Krishna.
Yeah.
I don't know if I confused you further. Yes.
No. Thank you. That helps.
So whatever you said, I just corroborated in terms of, like I said, whatever I understand. But I don't think I have anything to offer other than what you already shared.
No, you helped. Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhu, I have one question.
I go. Okay, Mataji.
I have one question, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Like all the spiritual energies and many other things, and everything comes from Krishna. So whatever comes from Krishna certainly should not be complete as Krishna, right? This is what is my question.
Should not be or should be?
Should. So like Krishna has to be higher than whatever comes from him.
Oh, he can empower.
He can empower, but the spiritual energy cannot be as potent as Krishna. Is it correct, or it can be?
Well, it's not the. I'm trying to understand the background of your question. Like, are you asking because Krishna's energies, he is the energetic, so the energy has to be inferior to the energetic? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, a little inferior to the energetic.
Yeah, but it we cannot really understand Krishna's nature in its complete, because he, for example, there is nothing that is superior to him, yes, and so everything has to be inferior to Krishna, and
Yes,
including his
that is what
energy.
yes, that is what I wanted to know, because
Yeah,
we are
including his energy. Yes.
Satchitananda.
Sorry.
Yes, yes, Prabhu. That's what I was saying. That we are also Satchitananda, but we are very minute part of Krishna, even though we are Satchitananda. So
Yes.
That superior energy, so whatever energies are also coming from Krishna, even if they are Satchitananda, they cannot be as complete as Krishna.
That's true for us. We are marginal potency. Although we are also Satchidananda in our constitutional nature, the living entities are marginal. We have a tendency to go towards plus or minus, or towards the Antaranga potency. Is this Antaranga, Sir Mataji, asking the question?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So I came at the right term. The Antaranga potency is the internal potency. So we can either go towards that, or we can go towards the Bahiranga potency, which is the material energy. So in that sense, we are always inferior, because we are susceptible to going towards either of those. We may not be always perfect. We do sometimes go towards this way or that way, which is why we are here today, because at some point, whenever that was, we decided to come here. So it is true in our case, yes, we are always inferior. Although we are spiritual in nature, although we do have our own Satchitananda Vigraha in our original constitutional nature, at the same time, when it comes to the living entities, they are inferior. And in case of the different, and in fact, we are considered to be the two types of Prakriti. One is Para Prakriti, other is Apara Prakriti. So the Apara Prakriti is that which is surrounding us, all the material energy. And we are actually supposed to be the Para Prakriti, which is the something that is beyond this material world, that is the spiritual world, or belonging to the spiritual world. So the spiritual potency itself, again, when we talk about Hladini Shakti, especially Srimati Radharani, we cannot really comment about that potency, because it is none other than Krishna's own internal potency. And he can sometimes, if he, according to his desire, may feel that that potency of him is dominating. Sometimes he will act like as if he was overcome by that internal potency, which is the, again, Hladini Shakti, or sometimes it's also called as Yogamaya. The Yogamaya potency is which is actually acting throughout the entire Golaka Vrindavan. Because otherwise Krishna and even his parents, Ananda, Yashoda, all these, and the Gopas and Gopis, they will have a very awe and reverence type of mode. But he does not want them to be in that mode or mood. Rather, he wants them to be in parental, conjugal, friendship, all those different rasas, not just the Dasya rasa. So this predominant mode is predominant in Golaka Vrindavan. That's Hladini Shakti, under which the whole Krishna can sometimes, like Radharani does. And sometimes Krishna cries in separation of Radharani. But that won't be possible if Krishna is always wanting to feel that he is the supreme. And he is the supreme, like I said, there is no, but he sometimes on his own accord, according to his own desire, may feel somewhat overcome by the devotees' emotions, according to again their love and surrender. But that's a high level for us. We are not at that level. But what you said is true for us. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
We just have to be careful. That's all I'm trying to say. We're always inferior, and the material world is also inferior. Even then, even though we have our Satchidananda Vigraha, unfortunately, we may be overcome by the material energy, even though it is supposed to be inferior than the superior living entities, Paraprakriti. Okay, I think I have overtaken this discussion. I'll give the phone to my wife. Sorry.
Govardhan
you,
Lila
Prabhu.
Mataji. Sorry.
Yes, Mataji.
You have to, you can share any of your comments, Mataji. Yeah, we don't have anything more to say.
Very good. I just want to thank you all for being there. And so I guess we can end the class. If there are no more comments, let's end. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.